When people engage with games, they're also watching streamers on Twitch or YouTube gaming. They're chatting on Discord, joining subreddits, downloading mods, sharing walkthroughs, reacting to trailers, buying in-game items, and more. That's a full-blown ecosystem, and it generates an enormous amount of behavioral data. In our paper, we identified 6 core pillars in this video game ecosystem. 1. Game companies, obviously. 2. The players themselves. 3. Video game streaming platforms. 4. Online communities. 5. Infrastructure providers like Steam or Discord. 6. And marketers and brands, who increasingly want to play a role in this space. Now, most academic research, and even most industry analysis, has looked at just one of those pillars at a time. Usually the interaction between players and the game. But in reality, what's happening is a highly complex, interconnected value creation process across all of them. And this is where our framework comes in. We use service-dominant logic, which sees value not as something delivered by companies and received by consumers, but co-created in networks. And we combine it with the customer journey perspective to trace how consumers interact across the entire ecosystem. This leads to 3 big challenges for marketers and researchers. First, it's the change on dynamic co-creation challenge. Gaming is fast, immersive, and emotional. A player might learn a new tactic from a streamer, jump into a Discord to find a team, and suddenly change their in-game behavior. But if you're the game company, you don't see those influences. You just see the behavioral shift. And without the context, you can't optimize the experience. So if you're relying on static or delayed data, you're already behind. Second, we talk about the Hanketsi resource distribution challenge. In this ecosystem, every action a consumer takes on one platform can influence behavior on another. A brand ad on Twitch might lead to gameplay changes, which might drive discussion in a Reddit thread, which then feeds back into game development decisions. It's all interconnected, but the data are scattered. Traditional analytics can't easily isolate these cascading effects. Third, there's the Europe unsourced consumption challenge. Simply put, who owns the data? The player's behavior is fragmented across game companies, platforms, communities, support tools, and none of these players fully share their data. That makes it very hard to build robust cross-platform consumer profiles or run accurate attribution models. And if you can't trace where influence comes from, you can't design marketing that truly resonates. So what do we propose? We offer several strategies for both scholars and practitioners. For marketers, focus on real-time data integration and on building long-term relationships with game developers. Think less in terms of one-off ads and more in terms of embedded brand experiences like virtual skins, narrative tie-ins, or community-sponsored content. For researchers, we suggest moving away from isolated data sets and developing methods that can bridge behavioral data, social interaction data, and affective, emotional responses across platforms. Ultimately, this isn't just about games. It's about how we understand engagement in any rich, multi-layered digital environment. Gaming just happens to be the most advanced laboratory we have for studying this kind of complex co-creative behavior. So if you're working in digital marketing, branding, or customer experience, or even if you're just fascinated by how people behave online, I think you'll find this research relevant. Thanks for listening. The paper is out now in the Journal of the Academy of Marketing Science. If you're curious, feel free to reach out. I'm always happy to discuss.